Self-determination theory is an idea that tries to explain human motivations and why people do things, and why a live stream can actually tap into something like that. So some of the most popular creators like Day9, VaatiVidya, and Ninja all have certain motivators from self-determination theory inside their live streams. And through those things, they're able to solve human issues and problems. Today we're going to talk about how you can learn from those three streamers and take those lessons and apply them to what you guys are doing. Cool, welcome to the stream, it's good to have you here. This is the Kublai Khan Lesson channel. We do live lectures every Tuesday at 8 p.m. And let's get into this, shall we? So let's begin with the basic. What is self-determination? Self-determination is a theory that is based off of solving certain human needs. Some of those needs are relatedness, agency, and competency. What does this mean? Well, relatedness is referring to the idea of interacting with people. Agency is the idea that refers to control. I have control over my life. And competency involves I'm a master of something. Well, let's break this down a little bit in how streamers are able to take advantage of this. If we were to, for example, go check out a very lovely streamer, one of my favorites, Day9 TV. He is a perfect example of relatedness, a desire to connect to others and potentially be part of a group. What Day9 does that makes him a relatedness streamer is the fact that he has a face cam. Similar to this, it creates a connection between him and the viewing audience. It's something where people can hear what he's saying and see his facial interactions and expressions that really make Day9 special himself. He also is incredibly connected to his chat. He's often responding to questions that they have, interesting comments that they're making, and in fact, he does this fantastic thing where he creates extra chat interactions that are outside of the live stream. Recently, for example, he did a 30-day project where everybody came up with different things that they wanted to do, and over a course of 30 days, solved those things. Working out more, making an embroidery, building a table, whatever they were, he got all of them together to work on these projects that they wanted to do and solve these problems. And together they did this through the Discord. They were able to talk to each other and thus become a related family. Something where when you're with Day9, it's not about the show. It's not about his competency. It's not about agency as much. It's about being part of a Day9 group, a community. So this is something that he facilitates. It's one of the things that makes his stream and his interaction with everybody individual and special. It also has a way of kind of separating him from some people, which is good because difference really helps you stand out. Now, so that is relatedness. That is this interaction between people. There's another thing that's very important that we will consider as well, which is agency. Now let's talk about what agency refers to. I'm going to remove this one over my head right now. Actually, you guys might want to write that down. A desire for independence and the control of one's choices. So agency is referring to control, right? To being able to choose what you want to do. Now I'm using VaatiVidya here. This is a video that he made in response to a Patreon request to make a Soulsborne mixed timeline. Basically, the Dark Souls games and the Bloodborne games made from Software have similar themes. So people were saying, can you make a video that's about connecting the two? And he's like, sure, that sounds like fun. Now, but that's what true agency is coming from. It's basically the ability to influence the content that your artist is making. So if you were doing like, please could you draw this, I'll pay you, that's an agency thing. Or in this case, these were all patrons who together voted and were saying, could you make this video? It was one that he actually recommended to them. So you can almost call it fake agency, because he said, out of 3 videos, what one do you want me to make? And this was one of them that they chose. So he provided agency to his community through this. This bit of agency allows him to be separate, different from all the other streamers, and it's something that is really hard to kind of achieve through a video format, because it's like you sit there and you watch the video. Now, as I'm scrolling through my notes real quick, because I accidentally just flew by, one of the things that we will continue talking about as well is the fact that not all these channels are just one type of thing. This guy isn't just agency. He's also relatedness. He's also competency. But we'll get into that because right now, as far as agency goes, this video was entirely based off of everyone else voting for it. Now, To kind of give you guys a connection real quick, when I talked about SEO, SEO is kind of a form of agency. People choose what they want to watch by searching for it. YouTube is an agency enabling platform. We'll talk a little bit more about that later because we still have one more thing that we got to hit, which is the discussion on competency. So if you guys recognize this gentleman who is on the left side of the screen, this is Ninja, probably the largest Twitch channel right now. Ninja is pure competency. When we think about what is a determination thing about trying to desire to feel improvement or to improve and whatnot, he's the number one because he's fucking incredible. If you just watch some of this right now in the corner, I mean, this is actually a fantastic example of a play. He's going to go down, he's going to snipe people in the face, and he's just going to do amazingly. Now, through this kind of generates, wow, that was actually really good. This kind of generates a feeling similar to watching a fantastically good sports team. You aren't playing on the team, but if you have a favorite team and you love that team and you're totally into doing this kind of stuff, like let's say you are a Patriots fan or you are a Seahawks fan and you have them and they win the Super Bowl or something, it feels like you won. It's something that is known as kind of an empathy, it's empathy neurons firing inside our brains and we feel the same success because they're your team. A lot of that comes from the fact that they're competent. They're really good at what they're doing. And so Ninja is able to really express that because he's just so damn good at playing Fortnite. Now this guy's been a Halo esports star before this, and so that was one of the things that made him grow so well and also be so damn good at a first-person shooter, is that he had a lot of experience in the esports world before. But still, as you can kind of see and watch this, now it's an interesting, because it's like, well, if we're talking about sports are really into relatedness, aren't they, right? Because you're part of a team, there are fans, you go to bars, everybody wears the jerseys together, and then they root on these people. That is a little bit of like Ninja too. So, before we go into this discussion though, let's make sure we repeat back a little bit over everything. And we will discuss a little bit more. I see in chat that Michael's never heard of Ninja. Interesting. He's actually super huge right now. So, sometimes things are missed. But let's go back into this main discussion, which is circling back. Mr. Day9. I think he's one of the perfect examples, not of competency, but of relatedness. Then, I highly recommend Agency for VaatiVidya. And finally, we do a lot of discussion on Mr. Ninja for competency. The reason why, Day9 is really connected with his chat and interaction. Then we have VaatiVidya, who is very much involved in giving agency to his viewership so they can choose what content he makes. And then competency, because Ninja is just fucking good at this game. Now, with those three things, these different groups all have different focuses on these determination motivators, right? My thing's not jumping back to what I want. There we go. So, when you think about something like this, and we're trying to discuss motivators, well, let's break down a little bit more deeply into what different motivators influence a channel. So let's take, for example, Day9 again, right? So Day9 is relatedness because, well, there he is. Day9 is relatedness because he's talking to people, but he also has a huge bout of agency that exists with him. Because when you're watching Day9 talk, one of the things that he's doing is he's responding to you and allowing you to interact with his stream. It is giving you an opportunity to control the content. So he's relating to you as a person. He's got a face cam up. You can see his facial features. You can see how he reacts to things. You can also ask him questions that now he can respond to. So, but he's giving you agency and control in that way. So he's kind of filling out two of those features. Competency is actually something that he's not exactly the most competent game player, but he does, in sort of the relatedness fashion, become a big brother of everyone. If you watch his content, he gives like dating advice, job advice, life advice in general. So when you're watching his stream, it feels like you're sitting with a bunch of friends and you have this big brother of the group who everybody looks up to, who's giving this advice, and you're like, oh my god, you mean to meet a girl, I should just ask her what she's interested in? It's like, yeah, isn't that a crazy idea? And you get that content from Day9. His focal point is interaction with people. So that's why I say he's relatedness, but I also bring up the fact that he solves this other motivator What is it? Agency? Sorry, I totally blanked on the word. He solves this other motivator with agency by giving you the ability to interact with him. So relatedness can be arguably also connected to the agency ability. If you think about it from like YouTube comments, specifically the ones that are static, well, in that regard, you can still have a relatedness and an agency mixed in, because now people are talking amongst each other, you're reading it, showing up on screen, and then also with the agency bit, if you give people the opportunity to vote on something or interact with something, it makes the content theirs. So in Day9's case, he's solving the need to feel like you belong, or that people need you. He's also solving the need for you to solve problems, because you can ask questions and get help. He also solves a need for developing as a human competency. Now, that's a lot more deep than something like VaatiVidya is going to be. VaatiVidya, who I gave for agency, well, one of the things that we talked about, right, was how his community voted on this. That is a huge relatedness thing. The community together made a decision. They were all proudly saying, we are a VaatiVidya fan, so we're now going to vote on this video, and this is what we want most. That is a huge relatedness bit, of course, but it's not as much as someone like Day9, because you're not a VaatiVidyan, right? It's kind of like when you're part of the bro army with PewDiePie. You're a Day9 if you follow Day9. They're a community of people that express that they're different. Now, another thing about VaatiVidya, though, that I would say is the biggest one, is agency, and then come up with competency. Dark Souls and Bloodborne are incredibly complicated storylines. He breaks them down in very intelligent ways that teach people how the whole game works, what's the story, what's the motivations, and sometimes solve questions that are really hard to answer. So with that bit, the feelings you're getting from him is an understanding of a game that probably is your favorite game if you're watching this, or one of your favorite games, or you just love the storytelling or the art design, because Dark Souls and Bloodborne are beautifully made games. So with that bit, you come to VaatiVidya to solve the desire to learn about Dark Souls, to feel smarter and more aware of this world. Excuse me, burped. It is so complicated, it is so crazy, that someone spends their time just solving the storyline. Now, agency is another reason you come, because now you can control that. Hey, I really want to learn about how Bloodborne and Souls, Dark Souls, connect. And that's what makes this video right now. Relatedness, again. I want to be with a group of people who love this game as much as I do, who care as much about the lore as I do. VaatiVidya solves those motivators very well. Now, an interesting one when we get to Mr. Ninja here, he's a little bit of an odd one, because yeah, he is competency. But the other thing that we were talking about, agency, doesn't really land in his camp. Now, he's someone who's making really cool Fortnite videos, and in fact, you can learn a little bit about how to play from him. He'll talk about it and give some relatedness, kind of like tips and stuff. That still falls under competency. But the main thing that really fits with relatedness is because people love watching him play. If he's winning, it's your team winning. So that's what develops this relatedness, right? This feeling that you are connected to your player, to your team. And anyone else who agrees, they're your bro. They're your sister. Anybody who disagrees, they're the other. You don't have to hate them or anything, but it's like, this is my winner. This is the person I care most for. And this is something we see in sports all the time, so relatedness actually works a lot with him. And in fact, he has his face showing because it's kind of a similar Day9 thing, where it's like he's the dad or the friend or the big brother, the person you look up to in this example. Because he's the one doing the cool shit, he's the one who's making all this stuff happen. So he identifies to you, he's a person, you can interact. But something like VaatiVidya, there isn't an interaction with his face. You just hear his voice when he's talking about this. He's separated. It's about the competency. It's about what's going on in the video, not about him. Now, this can be dependent on whatever your content is, but if you're an individual who is interested in being more known with content that is, let's say, video game interactions that is like about you, it's better to have your face on screen because they can interact relatably. Sorry, didn't mean to kick that. And unless, of course, you're trying to go away from something that's about relatedness. And in fact, we'll kind of break that down now. When is relatedness good? When's agency good? When is competency good? Generally, competency is always good. But there are examples when competency is bad. Like, for example, here's a fun one. Competency as an example is bad would be in a funny game montage. Because if someone showed off that they were so good at the game, that's not very funny. That's impressive, but it's not funny. But funny is something that we all relate to because bad stuff happened or really cool things happened and they were lucky, right? So that would be an example where competency is not good, but relatedness is ratcheted way up there because of the benefit. So I have a couple other examples of this stuff. Like, here's one. Let's talk about this channel. I show my face when I talk to you because I want you to know that I'm a person. You and I are in a very similar situation. I'm just like 2 or 3 years ahead of you, right? I know all this stuff because I studied it. That's what gives me the competency. But I want to give it to you because I like to teach. I like that experience. That is giving me purpose and meaning and mastery. It's also giving you the same things, but just 2 years behind me. So it's something where you and I share this, thus our relatedness is increased. Now, agency is somewhat provided with this chat here. Any Q&A, once again, ask questions as we're going. I see we got Bloodborne for PC coming up from Michael. It's a great game, highly recommended if you have a PlayStation. But the thing is, this provides some agency, but really it's about relating to each other, and relating to me, and allowing me to relate to you. And then that's where the competency part comes in, is I'm trying to give you the knowledge that put me into this position. And the hope is that then you will be able to take it and grow yourselves, because like I said, you and I are very similar. I'm just a couple of years ahead because I happen to be studying this, and now you're studying it at this point. Cool. So, let's see. As I continue to go through chats... Oh, here's another example that... I see we have a disagreement here. I'd love to talk about that in just a second, but let me give you another example of like how self-determination things can interact with typical YouTube experiences. So if you have ever found yourself watching a YouTube video and it's a help video and they're trying to help you build a drawer or play, we always use this, Overwatch McCree, and they take fucking forever to get to that point and you're just like, God damn it, I really need to know how to build the drawer or shoot or whatever. That's an individual who's trying to build relatedness before they're trying to serve agency. So if you're a person who is in need of a problem solved, you will be looking onto SEO on YouTube. You'll be Googling things, so needing help. That's known as help content. And you will find how to do this or how to do that. And you, as an agent of your own control, want that person to give it to you immediately. But instead, they break it away from you and say, hold on, this is me, subscribe, like. So they take control from you, and that's annoying. So you skip it, or you leave the video. Now, some videos will actually target for that help content. So you start off and go, hey, this is how you play McCree, shoot him like this, or hey, this is how you build your drawer, build it like this. Those do exist. However, so do the people who want to relate to the builder or the McCree player, because maybe you are a great Overwatch McCree player and they like you, so they want to relate to you. Maybe you're a really good artisan who is building this beautiful set of drawers, and people want to relate and connect to the creations that you make, including yourself and your process. So that is known as hub content. So we have two content here, right? Help, which is meant to serve a very specific purpose. Typically people who are trying to have agency in solve a problem. Hub content, which is meant to create a connective tissue to the streamer, to the content creator, through the audience. So these two contents, they can clash. If I want you to solve an issue with me as quickly as possible, I don't want to hear about your day. If I want to hear about your day, please tell me about your fucking day. I don't necessarily need to solve the issue immediately. And so you can see this in a lot of big channels, like vlog channels. There's a lot of relatedness that happens. You can actually look at this channel as well and see that how much more relatedness I focus on than I do on specific questions. I don't have top 10 tips videos because I don't like top 10 tips videos. That's technically me avoiding agency-focused content. Now, maybe I should go to it. That's actually something I'm thinking about. But right now, that's not my focus. I like the general discussions. The questions you guys can ask. I can see we're still talking about, oops, over here. I'm still talking about relatedness and Fortnite channels and stuff like that, which this will be a fantastic Q&A. I can't wait for it. But that's something where these conflicts can build. So when we talk about SEO, when you're coming up with words and stuff, are your words focused on helping someone solve a problem? Or are they more focused on creating a hub of content that improve relatedness? Now, really, it's about not the video, or actually, it's about the content's design, right? You're building help content to bring people to your channel. And when they arrive there, you solve it with what they want, that fast chunk. And then when they get to the end, you can go, hey, if you liked that and you're interested in me, check out these other videos that are more relatable. Relatedness. So that's a strategy to bring people to the channel. Help them, and then say, hey, check out this other stuff that's about me. So it's a kind of this creation of like, someone asks you for directions down the street and you tell them, cool. Let's say you happen to be going the same way, and then as you're walking together, you have a conversation about the day, right? That's kind of an example here. Instead of someone says, help me get down the street, and you're like, isn't the day beautiful? It's like, it is, but where is this? And that's kind of one of the disconnects that happen in content a lot. And that's actually one of the challenges of this channel. I have these generalized in different lectures, but I maybe need some more help content that's shorter and faster and punchier. It's an experiment I'll get to make, and one that you guys should be doing too. Let's look through the rest of the chat. Help, competency. Oh god, don't scroll that quickly. Oh, here's a couple other final examples. Relatedness, t-shirts. T-shirts, if this had a Kublai Khan on it, that would be an example of relatedness. People should only be buying those t-shirts when relatedness is something that is really, truly involved in the channel. Generally, bigger channels, more relatable, or smaller, engaged audiences. People who are like, fuck yeah, I'm a crow. Let's say that's a thing. I'm a crow, fuck yeah, and that's like a part of their identity. So you're making content that really connects to people on a deep, personal level. They're a fucking crow. So that would be like, if you join here and like, Kublai Khan crows, right? Like, these guys are really cool, focused on building Let's Play channels. That would be a t-shirt and worthing a relatedness kind of thing. But that doesn't exist yet. Maybe it will never. Maybe it will be so bigger that it won't ever be a highly engaged audience that those shirts will work, or it'll be big in general, and so the shirts would work again. Kind of changes. And let's see, yeah. So with that, that is the end of that particular set of things. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more stuff on my lectures, go ahead and check right here. If you have any more questions for me, go join us on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Next week, we'll do it again. You can also see the questions to this actual Q&A up there somewhere. It's going to be in the corner card or one of the little side end screens. Thank you for coming by. It was a joy. I just started my words. See you.